demonstrates how to use mixed addressing. So the first example we're going to look at assumes that you have a savings account and you want to save money for a vacation for next summer. So we're going to have our savings account, initial deposit. So let's say you have $2,000 to start with, and that you have an annual interest rate that your savings account earns of, let's say, 3.5%. A little optimistic right now, but we'll go for it. And so you want to compare the difference between making a monthly deposit of $100 versus a monthly deposit of $200. So deposit, and we'll just start off with $100, and then I'll copy this after we finish filling it out. So we'll start with each month you're going to deposit $100. We're going to calculate how much interest the account earns and what the balance is. So we'll start off with, let's see, July 1st. One of the handy things that you can do in Google Sheets is if I fill in the first 2 months, so I have July 1st and August 1st, and then I select those and drag them down the column, it will fill in all the other values for me. So it'll figure out what the series is. Let me delete this too, so we just have a year. It'll figure out what the pattern is and fill in the remaining months for me. And then, so I'm going to calculate the interest, and I want to be able to copy that down the column. So for the first month, my interest is just going to be the initial deposit, and I want to use absolute addressing here. So I'll use F4 for that. Absolute addressing times my interest rate, and again I'll use F4 here. And then so that's the interest the first month. Oh, that would be for the whole year. Divide by 12. So that's the annual interest rate, and I'm making deposits every month. Increase my decimal places here so that I can see how much that is. And so then now I can calculate the balance in my account. So it's equal to the initial deposit, and again, absolute addressing, plus the interest that we've earned, plus the monthly deposit. Now what I want to have happen is as I copy this down the column, I want it to keep referring back to the $100. Now I could use absolute addressing, but because I'm going to copy this table and compare what would happen if I saved $200, instead of making the cell absolute, I'm just going to make the row absolute and not the column. That way when I copy it over, it'll refer back to the correct row, but the column will be updated. So we can do the function, the F4 key, and if you just keep pressing it, it'll cycle through so that it makes the row absolute or the column absolute. So if you sit here, F4, F4, and what we want is the row to be fixed. So then I hit enter, and that's my current balance in my account. And again, I'm going to increase my decimal places so that I can see those. And so now what I want to do is each month the interest is going to be on the previous balance times the interest rate. And again, this should be absolute. F4, the previous balance times the interest rate. Again, divided by 12. Keep forgetting that, monthly interest rate. And now this I should be able to copy down the column here. I'll do that in a second. Here, my current balance will be the previous balance plus the interest, and those are both relative, plus the monthly deposit, again, which is going to have an absolute row address. 4. Okay. Now, these two cells I should be able to copy down to each month, and I'll see that if I save $100 a month, at the end of a year I'm going to have $3,200 saved for my vacation. So now, if I take this entire table here and I copy it, and I'm just going to copy it over here, and I copy it over here, and I change my deposit to $200, and I should make those dollar amounts, currency amounts here. Same thing here. Then I see that everything is updated because I used, I made the row absolute here, so when I copied it over, it's now referring up to the $200, not the $100. If I had used absolute addressing, that would still be referring over to this cell that contained the $100. And here I can see what happens. If I save $200 a month, I'm going to have $4,500 for my vacation after a year. So we're going to name this sheet. If you click down here on this sheet, we're going to name it vacation. And then the next video does another example that also uses mixed addressing.